Hey guys, in this video I'm going to share how I edge my cards and the process that I go through step by step. Edging my cards for me personally I feel connects me even more with the cards, gives it that additional surge of energy. At times it tends to bring the cards to life and really makes it unique for yourself. I've got a few examples. Here we've got the Dreaming Oracle cards, which has two sets of cards, one blue themed and the other set is kind of like a pink theme, where originally the edges would be plain and white, but being able to further add that little bit really brings the card together and kind of livens it up. Another example here is the Divine Animal Oracle, where originally it was plain white, but how I've added that slightly color into it that makes it unique. And then you've got multiple colors in the form of the Black Moon Astrology card, really, again, making it unique. And the dark blue here blending wonderfully for the Sacred Geometry Oracle cards, where again, it just blends wonderfully with the back. Step one, I have multiple color markers. The more you have, the more options you get to choose from, test, mix, and match. I use Sharpie markers, permanent markers that are assorted colors with quick drying ink, non-toxic, fade resistant, and waterproof as well. And I also have different branding of permanent markers that does pretty much the same things but in more colors. I personally think chisel or broad tips are the best. It's durable with good line width, and I find it's easy to gently glide the markers across the side of the cards. So that's something I would recommend. It's very important to always wipe down the ink of your markers, something I always do to stop any bleeding. The last thing you want is to straight away use the markers and have dripping ink on your cards, which is a right nightmare, so always wipe the markers down. Step two is more about knowing the kind of cardstock you want to edge. Not every cards will have the same paper quality. Matte cards works with all markers nicely. Gloss finish cards can be difficult with some markers. This is where I would use lighter colors to blend rather than fully going in and coloring it all completely different. So that's something to bear in mind. Step 3, the matching color process. This is how I determine what colors would match the back or front of the cards. What I normally do is put down a variation of colors that is close to the cards at the back first, then colors close to the inside of the cards, and lastly other colors that are completely different which may actually work out better. Now I either compare the card to the color of the tops of the markers, both from the back and the inside of the cards. So that's one way of kind of like getting a feel or an idea of, what would go with it best. So I tend to do that. And you could see here where I'm looking inside of the cards and kind of like comparing to what color comes closely to the theme of the general cards. And if I go down one more, you'll see straight away that the third one tends to almost be exactly identical to the back of that card. So straight away, I know that's the color that I'm going to choose overall, but it's still advisable to always look at the other different options and colors. And it's always sort of like advisable to look at the inside of the card as well, and just kind of like make sure if maybe that could actually go a lot better than what the back of the card will look like. So it's something that I tend to always do. And the reason why I do that is because there's been occasion where I've discovered with different cards, colors that I would have never thought would have worked. And here's a perfect example here with the Tarot de la Nuit, where originally I thought, whoa, black was perfect for it. But then when I tried red, it actually looked and felt a lot better. So here's the two cards side to side. I mean, it makes a world of a difference where one side, the red kind of gives it this nice sort of like glowing essence to it, and the black kind of like makes it seem sort of normal. So it's same back but completely different cards just because of the different type of colors, which is, it's all I always tend to check and make sure that I've got all of the options available, that I'm checking each particular card and seeing exactly what feels better, what really brings that card to life. And here's a perfect example as to why I kind of like do that process. So once I've selected that the color that I like, I tend to just like triple and double check that everything looks fine and it will go well, and then pretty much take it from there to the next stage. So stage 4 will be edging the cards themselves. So what I'm going to do is edge the Angels and Ancestors Oracle card, which I've been meaning to do for quite some time, that I've pretty much put off. So this is what originally the cards look like. So plain edges, white, nothing special about them. I always wind down the ink, regardless of whether I've used the marker so many times. You know, I can't emphasize how important this is. I would find the center of the card by putting it in between my thumb and index finger, locking it in gently, not so firm. It helps to also gently curve the cards, always making sure the back of the card is facing you. Then you would gently sort of like glide the marker across the side of the cards and repeat all around the corners. It's quite an easy process. I know at the moment it looks like I don't have the card securely between my thumb and my index finger. That's because I've done it for quite a long time. So I'm kind of like used to having that firm grip on the card and being able to still sort of like curve it and glide the marker across the corners. And I mean, once you, I mean, practice makes perfect. So once you get used to that, it's quite a fairly easy process. Again, wiping down the marker and kind of like gaining a firm grip of the card and sort of like gently going with the motion, both the card and the marker moving within a motion opposite direction. And again, it's a fairly easy process from there on. So here I've got it locked into my thumb to make it, you know, give it more of that secure sort of like feeling, so that way the card's not sort of like bouncing all over the place and I'm going to make that mistake. So yeah, it's quite fairly easy. Halfway through, this is what it looks like. On the left side, you've got what it looks like normally plain, and on the right side, you've got it nicely shaping up. You could see how nice the color has blended with the back of the card. Here they are side to side, half edged and the other half is plain, as it would normally. And you could see it makes a massive difference. So this is the finished version of the cards. Looks absolutely amazing. Goes perfectly well with the back, and then you got this nice sort of like green glowing happening by the side, which fits the inside of the cards as well. Completely different. This, you would think this is the way they've always come. Great sort of like color matching. I think that looks absolutely great. Let's have a look at another one. We've got the Work Your Light Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell. Now I'm looking at, you know, this has a lot of pink theme. So again, same process, putting down the various different colors of the pink, seeing which one will go nicely with it. This is what the cards originally would look like. Plain, but slight design by the side that kind of goes together. I think the pink blending in with all of that will make it look nice. Again, getting that hand posture, making sure the back of the card is facing me. And then it's just a simple process of gliding that marker across the side of the cards. Very simple. And, you know, like I said, when you get used to it, you get the confidence to pretty much hold a firm grip anywhere on the card and just glide along with that motion. And again, always wiping down the marker. There's been instances where I didn't do that. I learned the hard way in the very beginning, where I didn't wipe the card down and I just got my marker and I just like jumped right in. And what would happen would be like the ink would have sort of like soaked itself all the way at the edges of the card, and it just looked horrible. Oh God, it was a nightmare. So, you know, I learned the hard way to always kind of like wipe the marker down, because it will destroy your cards, and there's no way of kind of undoing that unless you trim your cards. But again, the damage could be a lot worse than, you know, just like a subtle ink bleeding across the cards. Oracle cards don't really take that long to do. I think tarot cards tend to take a lot longer because you've got a lot more cards in general. So this is what it would look like halfway through. You've got the edged pink, and then you've got the original, which still has that nice design of the flowers sort of like blending down. Beautiful cards. but I think it looks better in my personal opinion with the pink there. It pretty much joins up with the whole entire card. The whole entire colors there looks very nice. Let's have a look at the inside of the card. You could see that beautiful little pink glow that's like surrounding those cards versus the original where it's fairly plain but still looks nice. So completely revamped card where you've got beautiful sort of like glow essence going on. So this is what it looks like as the final finished version. Very, very nice, very different. I hope you've enjoyed this video and look out for more. Thank you.